What's going on, guys? It's freaking hot today in Iowa, middle of summer. It's super humid here, probably over 90 degrees. So not very fun, but we got a lot of stuff to get done on the car, so we can't waste any time. The first thing I want to do is rebuild the turbo. If you guys have watched previous videos at drift events, I'm blowing a lot of smoke and dripping oil out of the turbo. So I tried redoing the drain using a bigger drain line and having a straighter path, and that hasn't made a difference. So we're going to rebuild the turbo. I think I might have overspun it back when I was testing the car and disconnected the turbo temporarily and ran it NA. I had no wastegate reference since the turbo was disconnected, so it probably just spun as fast as it possibly could. Might have cooked the bearings. So we're going to pull it off, tear it all apart, and find out. I bought a rebuild kit for $100. Now they say you're supposed to balance a turbo when you rebuild it. I don't have that ability, so we're just going to try it, rebuild it, see if it works. If it fails, I'm only out $100 on the rebuild kit. It's only a $600 turbo, so if this doesn't work, I'll just buy a new turbo. But the other major thing I want to do is a diff reinforcement. I've broken the front diff bolt on this car multiple times. It's kind of a bad design. There's two bolts holding the rear, but only one in the front, and it's a very common problem on these cars to break that front bolt. And when that happens, the front of the diff can jump up and down. It hits the chassis, makes horrible grinding noises. It's bad. So I just recently broke it again, and I'm sick of having to replace it, and I don't want it to happen in the middle of an event, so we're going to build a brace for the front of the diff. Then we have a few maintenance things to do, plugs, maybe a new O2 sensor. I think it might be coated in oil from all the oil leaking out of the turbo. We might try cleaning it, see if it runs better that way, because we have had a small misfire issue. But yeah, we've got some things to do. Let's go ahead and get started, tear this turbo off, and get it torn down. Before we get it fully torn apart, I just want to show you guys there is quite a bit of shaft play. And there's some in and out. So I definitely think the bearings are slightly damaged. So it probably definitely needs a rebuild regardless of it if it has anything to do with the oiling issue. God damn it. Not sure what all that is, but definitely don't think it's supposed to be in there. I don't know if it's just like weird burnt oil. Let's take a magnet to it, see if it's metal shavings. Definitely sticks to a magnet. So that's weird. Wonder where all that material came from. All right, we got the turbo all rebuilt. Now, unfortunately, I did have a mishap during the rebuild. I forgot about the fact that the nut on the turbo shaft is reverse thread, and I hit it with an impact. The wrench slipped off the nut, and the fan blades spun and caught the wrench. So we've got some minor damage to the impeller blades. You can see tip broke off there, and then can't really see them because they're on the underside, but there's a few gouges in each of the blade. So probably going to be getting a turbo in the near future, but I'm still going to go ahead and throw this one on the car and start it up and see what it does. It might work okay, or it might be horribly unbalanced now that the blades are damaged and not work at all, but we'll find out. I'm not going to not try it after rebuilding it, so let's see. Okay, we got it all back together, so we're going to start it up and see what happens. There is some oil on the exhaust housing, so it's going to smoke for a little while as it burns all that off, but then hopefully after it all burns off, it'll quit smoking and it won't leak. And hopefully it doesn't just explode from having a damaged turbine wheel on there, but we'll find out. So far, so good. I don't hear any funny noises. Unfortunately, with the way this car's built with the stock ECU, I can't run it without the air filter on the turbo because that's where my MAF is. So I would like to be able to run it without the filter and be able to see the turbo spinning, but we don't have that option. All right, so I've whipped up a diff brace real quick. Basically, this bolts to the bottom of the car through these two holes here. And then this leg that sticks up grabs onto the diff up here and holds it down so that the diff can't move up and break the bolt. And then it also goes through the main diff bolt right here. And then we have a sandwich plate that goes in here and has threaded holes for our two bolts to go into. I just whipped this up real quick with some scrap steel that I had laying around, There's a similar brace available on the market. A couple different companies make it, but it's like 400 bucks. If it were around 100, 150, I would have no problem buying it, but 400 is just too much when I can easily make it myself with just a few hours worth of work. So we got one whipped up. We'll get some paint on it, install it, and then hopefully never break another diff bolt. So that's the goal. Diff brace is done, so now we're just gonna do some spark plugs, and then we have one other thing to do as well. Got the spark plugs done. I got the car washed real quick, and now it's all loaded up and ready to go to our local track in Cedar Rapids for the next drift event. So this is just a local track with all the friends, so we're just going to have fun, and it's probably going to be a whole lot of that. There is a grassroots level competition on Sunday, so I'll be doing that. Hopefully we do good there, but if not, I really could care less. I'm just there to have a good time. But yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video where we'll be drifting.